Hello and welcome to this pattern recognition video where you solve a series of puzzles along with me, and you want to make sure that you solve the puzzles more than once, as if you just solve them once and forget about them, you're more likely to forget the patterns that you learn as you're solving these puzzles. Now, these are more advanced puzzles rated 1800 to 2000, but if you're lower rated than that, you can still try them out and see what types of puzzles you might have to be able to solve in the future as you improve. Now, remember to pause at any time if you want to think longer. So let's take a look at this first puzzle. We have a pawn that just captured here, and it's forking both of these pieces. So what do? We could just maybe capture with our bishop and just take the pawn. But let's look at everything that's going on in this position. It appears that we have, 6 pawns? Our opponent has all 8 of their pawns. But we have 4 minor pieces and our opponent only has 3. So we're ahead a piece for 2 pawns. So perhaps, since we're ahead in material, we can start trading down even more material and simplify the position. So maybe we go after this knight, attacking their queen. If they capture our bishop, attacking our queen, well, then we can take the queen. If they take our queen, then what? We have this opportunity to take a knight with check, and they'll have to deal with that, giving us time to take that pawn and save our rook that would be under attack. So a lot going on there. Let's see if that's the right answer. So we take, that's what they wanted. We start trading off the material, but now we have an advantage here. We can grab this knight with check, and while they have to deal with that, we can save our rook. We can just pick off, the king can go up here and pick this pawn off. And we'll end up having, an extra knight in the end versus their what? What do they have? An extra pawn, I believe. Okay, here we go. On to puzzle number 2. I'll try to do 10 puzzles here, and also feel free to leave any comments. If you have requests for anything you would like to see in future videos, let me know if you're getting bored of all these pattern recognition puzzle videos, if there's something else you would like to see. All right, and like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Okay, what do we have here? The rooks just doubled up here. So, this is a possible threat. If they check, if we take, then the other rook will check, here. And then if we block, we'll be in trouble, a back rank mate. So if they check, we would probably have to bring this rook down to block. So both rooks are covering one another. Let's look at the material. So what is a good system when you're trying to figure out a position, solve a tactical puzzle like this? Well, to get an idea of what's going on, you definitely want to look at what your opponent's last move was, this rook moving over, and what is the threat behind that? Do they have any checks? Yes, so that's something to be aware of. You count up the material. We have 5 pawns. Our opponent has 5. We have knight versus bishop with pawns on both sides of the board. That usually favors the bishop because it can zip back and forth across the board easier. So what advantage do we have? Well, we could go after this pawn with check. Does that do anything? Or maybe we take So maybe that's the way to go. We get rid of their bishop. They take. We take here with a discovered attack on their king. And then we can pick off another pawn. So perhaps that's the way to go. And then if they check us, we can just drop back. But is that enough? Oh, okay. What am I thinking? We just use, so this is a great opportunity to remember and to learn from this mistake. Look for checks first. I was thinking, at some point we want to move this pawn after we exchange with the knight, but why not do that immediately? Because if we take here, we're attacking the bishop and we have a discovered check as well. So we just go ahead and material. So there, and then we can grab the bishop. So as I said, they block here. You do not want to go there, or they'll just go here. We block, and it's a back rank mate. So we have to go there and block. So now we're just ahead this extra knight. Now, of course, they could go ahead and capture here. All right. On to puzzle number 3. So we just had a capture. Our queen is under attack. What can we do here? Well, if we look at our opponent's last move, we see the queen's under attack. Where is best to move that? Okay, well, pause the video if you need to think longer. If you're ready, here we go. I think maybe the best move is to just capture this pawn with a check, but also forking the king and the rook over here. So maybe that is best. Or maybe not, because if we go here, they can block the check with the queen here or here, pinning the queen to our own king. But if that happens, we can just take and then maybe fork this way with the king and take the rook. So maybe we're good either way. But before we begin, let's take a look at the material. We have 6 pawns. Our opponent has 7. So we're down a pawn. The rest of the material is even. So if we grab this pawn, the pawns will be equal. That looks to be the best way to go. And then now we can just... Oh, we might as well... We have to be careful. Since they went here, if we take, their king can take, and we no longer have that fork. So maybe we do an in-between move, forking first. Now we take, and then we can grab this rook, and we're just ahead in material now. We still have this option as well, capturing. If they capture this pawn, probably the king will move maybe down here to trap that knight, and we might have to take that pawn anyway. All right, on to puzzle number 4. What is happening here? The king just stepped over, I guess, to get out of the line of fire of this rook, even though there's a pawn in between. Maybe, do we push forward there? Then we're threatening a capture here, which looks very dangerous. So if they take, if we push our pawn and they take here, we could take with the knight with check. So maybe that's the way to go. All right. If we follow our system, count up the material, we have what? 8 pawns, is that right? 3, 7, 8 pawns. Our opponent has 8 pawns. We both have a knight and a bishop, 2 rooks and a queen, so material is even. And I'm thinking we need to press our attack against the king. So if we push this pawn, we're threatening, just capturing here, checking the king, and then, capturing here with a discovered attack. Something like that. So if we go here, if they capture this way, well, now our knight can jump in there delivering a check. Or our rook. But either way, I think we want to move this. Okay, so that's an interesting way for them to go. All right. Well, now what? Okay. I wasn't expecting that move. So what do we do? If we push forward with check, they could just capture. Maybe we go here and take, opening up our rook. Also have the possibility of jumping this up. So if we take, maybe they'll go here, attacking our rook. All right, so yeah, this is a little trickier. Do we bring our rook up here, threatening to take the knight, and then go here with a check? The king would have to move over. All right, I don't know. Maybe we go there. Or this is more forcing. If we push there, well, then they could just capture. So I don't know if that works. I'm thinking we got to go that way. All right, so now the rook move as expected. Oh, wow. Okay, maybe there's this move. If we go here, delivering check, something like that. If the king moves forward, then we move our queen here and deliver mate. If the king moves back, then what? Do we move our queen up here and threaten mate over here? If we go there, see now if their rook takes our rook, let me double check that. Okay, if we go here, their rook takes, do we take? Then they could take our queen. So if there was a way to take with check, oh, what if we just went here? If we threaten to go there, knight takes, queen takes with checkmate. But if we go here, what if their rook takes? If the rook takes, Maybe we need to deliver check. Man, there's just a lot going on here. So maybe we go there. Check. I'm going to try that move. All right, so that's what they wanted. Okay, I hope you were able to figure that one out as well. So remember, you want to try and do more of this in your head. So pause the video and see if you can calculate it out all the way to the end. I try to speed it up a little bit because I know I'm probably going kind of slow for some of you out there. All right, puzzle number 5. Bishop develops, grabbing this diagonal. Now what? Did it capture something there? All right. Well, what can we do? Do we attack that? No. I mean, we have a bishop lined up here. We could push this pawn with a discovered attack here. And then what? Oh, maybe that's what we need to do. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Pause the video if you need to think longer. We have a bishop lined up on the king. If we push this pawn, we have a discovered check. Now the king can't capture the attacking bishop. It can block. If it blocks with the pawn, we can take. If it blocks with the rook, we could take, and then we could even go after this pawn. So let's count up the material here. We have 5, 6 pawns. Our opponent has the same. We have 3 minor pieces, as does our opponent. 2 rooks and a queen. So things are pretty even. Thinking that's the best way to go. We push there. Now, we could leave that bishop pinning here. Go after this. Do we go after that? He takes, then we take. Or maybe we just take immediately and then we can go after this pawn. Unless there's something better. We could even take here, attacking the queen. But I don't know if I like that. It gives them some counterplay. So maybe we take this. But they'll probably take there. We could push forward first, attacking there. All right, a lot to think about. How do we finish this off? Now, if we look at it, we're ahead a rook for a minor piece for a bishop. This is kind of forcing if we go after their queen. If we go there, the queen is under attack. So maybe we do that first. No, they don't like that. Do they want us to just take that? No, they don't like that either. What about that way? No. Okay, the other option is to attack. They don't like that. Or attack with the queen here. Okay, I guess that keeps the king kind of stuck out in the center more. So I see why they want that move. I mean, they could block here. And then we still have time to go there and take that pawn, I guess. And we're attacking this one. All right. Well, we're halfway done. On to puzzle number 6. I hope you were able to do better in the end there than I did. Okay. Pawn is pushed forward. What are we doing here? Okay, that gives the king a little escape hatch. If we check on the back rank with either... Well, we don't want to go here. The knight can just take our rook. Oh, but if we go here, the king would have to run, and then we can pick off that knight. That means we'll both have rook and queen, but we have 4 pawns. Our opponent will have 5. Let's take a look at this. Oh, we can move the rook. We can move that rook here because the knight is pinned right now. So if we check with the rook, the king would have to... So rook check, king has to go there. We could take this pawn with check. If they block with the... They would have to block with this. Then we can deliver a mate, take that knight. All right. Check, check, and mate. All right. Good little pattern there. Hopefully you figured that one out. On to puzzle number 7. What do we have now? Pawn is just pushed forward. If we count up the material, we have 5 pawns. Our opponent has 5 pawns. They have the bishop pair, but we both have 3 minor pieces, 2 rooks, and a queen. So what do we do? Oh, and we do have this threat. They're lined up on our king, but for the moment, that knight is protected by our bishop. But what attacks, what threats do we have? So if we look at checks first, well, we have this queen move, checking. Then what? If we check, the king can only go here or here, left or right. So how do we continue? What follow-up do we have? Well, we could bring the knight up here if the king goes to the left, and then we're threatening a mate. But of course, they could push this pawn, and the queen would be guarding that. What then? Oh, we would have this threat, discovered attack on that knight. So maybe that works. Maybe we go here, but they don't have to go to the left. What if they go in that direction? Well, then how do we follow up? Do we still bring the knight up here, threatening a fork, and also threatening to attack this knight? If the bishop takes, then we take with check with our queen. All right, that seems to be the way to go. And it's the most forcing, checking with the queen. So we're going to go there. Now they did decide to go in that direction. So do we continue to move the knight up here, threatening to fork? If they try to protect, oh, we can still go there if they try to protect with the rook. So, do we have anything better? So that's what they wanted, because now we have this threat. Even if they bring their rook over, we can do it anyway, and we get a rook for that knight. And we're threatening a checkmate there as well. So, all right, on to puzzle number 8. Here we go. Knight has just jumped forward onto this outpost, attacking our rook. It's also attacking our knight on this outpost. Now we could just take, the pawn would take, and then we could go after that pawn with our rooks. So let's look at the material. We have 5 pawns. Our opponent has 7. Okay, wow. So we're down 2 pawns. So maybe we need a little bit more. If we look at checks first, we could go here with a check. But do we have a good follow-up? Maybe we reverse the order and take with the knight first, setting up a discovered attack. Oh, but if we do that, their knight can take our rook. So back to this move. Rook takes with check. The king is forced to go here. Now what? Now we have the king trapped on the H-file. Okay. You have to look at all the checks. Hopefully you found this one. So instead of capturing here with check, this great little pattern here, knight to e7 check. It also covers that square. The king will have to move, and then we mate on the H-file. So great little checkmate pattern there. All right, on to puzzle number 9. We have 2 more to go. The bishop has stepped up here, attacking our rook. Also, if we move that rook, there will be this checkmate right here. Or is there a checkmate? Because we have that this move, a discovered attack. So a lot going on here. We have bishop and queen threatening a mate here on g2 if we move our rook. But the one thing that saves us is our bishop lined up on their king. So what do we do here? Well, we could take this pawn and then go after the queen. Is that the best way to go? I think so. So we take this pawn, discovered check. Remember, when the king is in check, 3 options: capture, block, or run. The bishop can't be captured there. So that leaves blocking with their bishop, or the king could run into the corner. So if we go there, maybe they block here, because if we take and they take, well then if we take the queen, their rook will take our rook. So I think we need to just go here. If they block, we take the queen. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we have to do that anyway and just end up 2 pawns ahead at the end. So take, they block, we take with check, they take. Oh no, but then if we take their queen, they'll take our rook and they'll be ahead. So maybe we go here. Oh, wow. Yeah, maybe this is better. We take there, discovered check. Now if they block, we can just take the bishop. If the king goes into the corner, then we grab their rook and checkmate. Wow, okay, that was a pretty cool pattern. You know, as I said, leave comments. Let me know what you think if you have an opinion. All right, the final puzzle, number 10. Here we go. We just had a capture by the pawn. What do we do here? Well, let's look at the material real quick. We have 3, 6, 7 pawns. Our opponent has 6. What can we do? Oh, we're down a queen, I believe. So we have an extra knight, but they have an extra queen. So we need to do something in a hurry here. Perhaps we start attacking with check. But what is the best way here? I mean, the only way to check, I think, is to go here. Capture with check. If the king goes here, we'll have a discovered attack opportunity. So the king would probably go here. Then what? Do we push with this pawn? Perhaps. Okay, let's double check this. So I'm thinking we check. If they go here, we can move back, discovered attack by our bishop, and then we can take their queen. But if we do that and they recapture our rook, we'll still be down the knight for that rook. So maybe we have to focus on trying to push our passed pawn. But I'm thinking either way, we start with this attack here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so they went the other way as expected because they didn't want to have this discovered attack looming over the king's head. So now, now we can just check with the pawn. It can't be blocked. The king can't run anywhere. They'll have to capture with the queen, and then we can just take. But we have to take with the rook and not the bishop, of course. So now we're attacking their bishop as well. You know, and this pawn. So what do we have here? Now we're just ahead a knight, and that should be enough. Okay, I hope you enjoyed these 10 puzzles. As I mentioned, feel free to leave comments with requests or anything else you want to talk about. Also, like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and have a super chess day.